difficult. Through doubts and fears, find your inner throne. Every setback a chance to reclaim. Let your passion ignite, let it flame.
Welcome to the Living Well, Living Rich podcast, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're plunging into a topic that honestly defines so much of our human experience, the incredible, often underestimated power of emotional expression. Think about it, whether it's a quiet moment with yourself or a high-stakes conversation, our ability, or sometimes inability to articulate our feelings really shapes our world. Today, we're going to explore just how profoundly understanding and authentically expressing our emotions can impact our relationships, our careers, and just our overall well-being. Our compass for this deep dive is a truly insightful guide, Unleashing Your Voice, The Art of Emotional Expression by Shu Chen Hou, PhD. It's a book that offers a really fresh perspective on something we all navigate daily.
Yeah, it really does. And our mission today is basically to give you a shortcut. We want to distill the most potent insights from Dr. Hou's work. We'll provide you with a well-informed overview of her unique approach to finding your voice, building genuine confidence, and communicating with, authentic impact. This isn't just a dry summary. Think of it more as a focused book review, really highlighting the practical tools and the profound shifts in perspective that make her work so valuable.
Okay, let's unpack this right from the start then. Dr. Hou immediately challenges a common assumption, doesn't she? She doesn't just call emotional expression a skill, she frames it as the crucial first step toward deeper, more meaningful connections with ourselves and those around us. Wow. I mean, that's a bold claim, right? Many might think logic or, action comes first, but she argues that emotions aren't just fleeting sensations. They are the very essence of our human experience, guiding us through everything: joy, sorrow, love, fear. Why is this initial step so foundational? What's her thinking behind that?
That's really where her perspective shines, I think. She argues that before we can logically tackle a situation or act effectively, we first have to understand the messages our emotions are sending. What's fascinating is how she emphasizes recognizing and validating the vast array of emotions we experience daily. It's not about labeling them good or bad. Each feeling, the energy of joy telling us to celebrate, or the weight of sadness pushing us to look inward, or even that sharp edge of anger signaling a need for change, it carries a unique, actionable message. The insight here is that Dr. Hou sees emotions almost like this rich internal data stream. By consciously recognizing and validating these feelings, we empower ourselves to honor our individual experiences. We choose to embrace them, interpret them, rather than just automatically pushing them down. This heightened awareness, as she calls it transforms our emotional landscape significantly. It turns what feels like internal chaos into, meaningful guidance.
Okay, so if emotions are these complex internal messages, where do we even start trying to decode them? It sounds like a lot. And here's where it gets really practical, right? The journey, Dr. Hou says, truly begins with a deep sense of self-awareness. Now, journaling, lots of us have heard of it, maybe tried it, but the book recommends it as an incredibly effective tool for something specific, to reflect thoughtfully, identify root causes, and uncover intricate patterns in our emotional responses. So it's not just about venting your day onto paper. What makes her take on journaling different for building emotional intelligence?
You nailed it. It's way more than just a diary entry. Dr. Hou's method is almost like emotional detective work. She encourages identifying trigger chains, not just what immediately set off an emotion, but the whole sequence of events, thoughts, maybe even physical sensations that led up to it. For example, you might journal about feeling irritated, right?
Yeah.
And through her guided reflection, you might realize it wasn't just that one comment from a colleague. It could be tied to a deeper pattern of feeling unheard, maybe stemming from something earlier in the week you hadn't resolved. This kind of detailed self-examination creates that private and safe outlet for full articulation and clarity. It cultivates emotional intelligence by basically mapping your emotional ecosystem. It's really about understanding the why behind the feeling, not just the what. Makes sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All this self-awareness sounds incredibly powerful for our inner world. But how do we bridge that gap to, the conversations we actually have with other people? The book talks about vulnerability. And it positions it not as a weakness, which, let's be honest, is how many of us were taught to see it, but as a profound strength that can unlock deeper connections and foster authentic communication. That really flips the script, doesn't it? What specifically in Dr. Hou's work helps us make that mental shift, and how does it go beyond just the idea of being vulnerable to actually doing it well?
That's a really crucial distinction. Dr. Hou makes it clear that vulnerability isn't about oversharing everything or just emotional dumping. It's about intentional disclosure. It's strategically revealing parts of your inner world to build connection, not just for your own release, but to invite reciprocity. She actually provides exercises. For instance, starting with what she calls low-stakes vulnerability in relationships you trust, maybe admitting a small fear or uncertainty, and then you observe the response, which is often positive. This helps build a kind of vulnerability muscle, showing us firsthand that sharing our fears, joys, dreams, uncertainties, it creates this rich environment of trust and understanding. It genuinely inspires others to open up too. And Dr. Hou points out this isn't just personal stuff, it applies professionally too. It leads to better collaboration, better leadership even. And the real insight, I think, is the healing power of articulating those unspoken words. It's not just about getting it out, it's about integrating that experience into your story, letting it become a source of strength, not shame. She gives examples, like how admitting a mistake in a team meeting can actually boost leadership by showing courage and building psychological safety.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does it mean for how we actually communicate day to day? Dr. Hou breaks down effective communication into these key elements: authenticity, active listening, clarity, empathy, and nonverbal cues. Let's really dig into active listening for a second. The book hammers this point. Communication is fundamentally a two-way street. It's not just waiting your turn to talk. It emphasizes being fully present, understanding the emotional undertones and nuances, not just the literal words. For someone who maybe struggles with truly listening, what are Dr. Hou's specific actionable techniques? How do you get at those undertones?
She offers some very tangible techniques, things that go beyond just nodding along. One she highlights is a type of mirroring or reflective listening. You briefly rephrase or summarize what the other person said, and this is key, including the emotions you perceive, like saying, okay, so it sounds like you're feeling pretty frustrated because X happened, and that's maybe making you feel unheard. It's not about agreeing necessarily, but showing you've truly heard both the words and the feeling underneath. It validates their experience. And then there's clarity, speaking with purpose and intention, using simple, accessible language, avoiding jargon. Dr. Hou emphasizes that clarity isn't just intellectual understanding. It's about building an emotional bridge. When you speak simply, directly, you remove barriers that might make the other person feel confused or alienated or even defensive. It fosters a more open emotional exchange.
That's powerful. We focus so much on the words, but it raises that big question. How much are we really communicating without words? Dr. Hou highlights that nonverbal communication plays this huge role, often conveying way more than what we say. She mentions things like micro-expressions, those super quick facial expressions that betray true emotion, often before we even realize it. That's a whole layer of communication many of us probably miss entirely, but it can reveal so much. Can you elaborate on how she helps us tune into these unspoken signals, both in others and ourselves?
Absolutely. Our body, as Dr. Hou puts it, really speaks volumes. She explains that gestures, for example, aren't just decoration. They're almost primal expressions. An open palm might suggest honesty, openness. A pointed finger could mean emphasis or maybe even accusation, depending on the context. These gestures often cut across language barriers, adding these extra layers of emotion and intention. And eye contact, she describes it as an unspoken bridge. It conveys authenticity, sincerity, especially in vulnerable moments. Sustained eye contact lets us sort of glimpse into thoughts, feelings, and intentions, and it significantly boosts our persuasive ability too. Dr. Hou suggests exercises like just silently observing interactions, focusing only on body language to sharpen this awareness. But ultimately, she stresses the absolute importance of congruence, aligning your spoken words with your nonverbal signals. Any mismatch, like saying, "Oh, I'm fine," while your fists are clenched, it instantly breaks down trust and authenticity. Your body's telling a different story.
Totally. Okay, let's talk about confidence, because that's a big barrier for many people, that nagging voice of self-doubt. The book calls it a heavy cloud, looming ominously over our aspirations and dreams, whispering that we're not good enough. It's that inner critic that can just paralyze us. So how does Dr. Hou suggest we tackle that? How do we build real confidence in our emotional expression? What are her actionable steps beyond just, spot the triggers?
Her approach is super practical here. She suggests a kind of four-step process. First, acknowledge the self-doubt. See it, but without judging it. Recognize it's a thought, not necessarily the capital-page truth. Second, identify its triggers. What situations, people, or even internal feelings tend to wake up this inner critic? Third, reflect on past achievements. Big or small, doesn't matter. Remind yourself of times you were capable, resilient. This isn't about ego. It's about gathering evidence against the critic. And fourth, take small, courageous steps forward. Deliberately choose to express a feeling or an opinion in a relatively low-stakes situation. It's about reframing fear. Seeing it not as a stop sign, but maybe as a signal that you're pushing your boundaries, turning it into a teacher almost. For example, if public speaking terrifies you, she might suggest just expressing one clear opinion in a small team meeting first. Build that confidence piece by piece.
And she offers specific tools too, right? Like positive affirmations, they get talked about a lot, but sometimes they can feel a bit hollow if you're just repeating something you don't believe. What makes her approach to affirmations effective? How does it differ from just saying, I am confident, over and over?
That's a great point. Generic affirmations can feel fake. Dr. Hou emphasizes crafting affirmations that are specific, believable, and actionable. So instead of a vague, I am confident, she advises something like, I am capable of clearly expressing my needs in this specific team meeting, or my voice matters, and I choose to articulate my feelings with calm clarity. That shift from general to specific and action-oriented is what makes them powerful. She explains it's like rewiring neural pathways over time, creating new mental scripts. These aren't just wishful thinking. They're deliberate mental exercises designed to challenge and replace those limiting beliefs. And she also really underscores the benefit of surrounding ourselves with supportive individuals, people who actually affirm our growth and cultivating serious self-compassion. Treating ourselves with the same kindness we'd show a good friend who's struggling. That whole support system is invaluable.
And it's crucial that this isn't about trying to become someone else or copy how others express themselves. The book has this powerful message: embrace your unique style. It's not about fitting into some mold, it's about celebrating what makes you, you. How does Dr. Hou help us actually discover and then weave our unique passions, our stories, into how we express emotions, making it genuinely authentic and impactful?
Yeah, she frames it less as something you develop and more as something you uncover. It starts with deep exploration, exploring your passions, your interests, your core values. These aren't just hobbies. She sees them as the source of your most authentic self. Dr. Hou then guides readers to consciously weave these personal stories and values into their emotional expression. For instance, if fairness is a huge value for you, expressing anger about an injustice isn't just an outburst. It becomes a principled stand rooted in who you are. She suggests practicing storytelling around these core elements, letting your natural voice, your experiences, shape how you communicate feelings. That's what makes your voice distinct and impactful, because it's truly grounded in who you fundamentally are.
Okay, shifting gears slightly into maybe tougher territory, difficult conversations. That's pretty much inevitable, right? At home, at work, Dr. Hou gives strategies for calm and composed communication. But honestly, the idea of being calm when emotions are running high can feel almost impossible sometimes. What's her framework for preparing for these conversations? Something beyond just take a deep breath to actually ensure they lead somewhere constructive.
She provides a really clear, actionable framework for that prep work. Yes, it starts with deep breathing, but not just to chill out. It's about physiologically regulating your nervous system, literally shifting you out of that fight or flight mode. Then it's about intentional framing. Before you even open your mouth, she advises pausing and ask yourself, okay, what is my real objective here? What outcome do I genuinely want from this conversation? This helps prevent just reacting impulsively. And crucially, she stresses using very specific I statements. Not just, I feel hurt, but I feel hurt when you do X because it makes me think Y. For example, I feel a bit undervalued when my ideas are consistently interrupted in meetings because it makes me wonder if my contributions are respected. You see how that shifts the focus from blaming the other person, you always interrupt me, to your personal experience and interpretation. That fosters a much more constructive dialogue. And when you couple that with truly active listening, trying to understand their side too, it creates space for validation before you even try to solve the problem.
Right. And it's clear this isn't like a course you take and you're done. The book frames emotional expression as a lifelong journey of continuous growth. It's about reflecting on your progress, seeking feedback, which she calls a valuable tool for improvement, and really committing to lifelong learning from every single experience. Seeking feedback, though, that can be intimidating for a lot of people. How does Dr. Hou help us see it as a gift, not just criticism?
She reframes feedback entirely. It's not judgment, it's essential data for growth. Dr. Hou actually encourages actively soliciting feedback, but from trusted people, and framing it specifically as a request for help in refining your communication skills, not like you're admitting you failed. She suggests asking targeted questions like, hey, when I expressed X earlier, how did my tone come across? Or was my main point clear when I said Y? That makes the feedback way more actionable and less personal, less threatening. And this idea of continuous growth, it means every interaction, every feeling, even every misstep is just a chance to learn and get better. It's about developing a growth mindset, specifically toward your emotional world, constantly observing, adapting, and integrating new insights from everything you experience.
And interestingly, this whole personal journey ultimately leads outward to inspiring others. Dr. Vaughn talks about the ripple effect of emotional honesty. When we find the courage to express our true feelings, it doesn't just free up our own spirit, it actually inspires people around us to embrace their own vulnerabilities too, creating what she calls a powerful chain reaction that fosters healing, connection, and personal growth. How does she suggest we actively contribute to that ripple effect? How do we genuinely inspire through our own authenticity?
Dr. Hou emphasizes that inspiring others isn't about like preaching or putting on a performance. It's about authentic modeling. Simple as that, but not easy. When you commit to being emotionally honest yourself, especially when it's tough, you create psychological safety for others to do the same. She highlights that sharing your unique story, the whole messy, beautiful spectrum of your emotions and vulnerabilities, becomes a transformative catalyst. It's not about presenting a perfect image, it's about being real. And that act of genuine self-expression helps foster a community of emotional expression, where feelings aren't just, tolerated, but actually valued as vital parts of our shared humanity. Your courage doesn't just liberate you. It genuinely encourages others to find their voice and add to that positive chain reaction of healing and connection.
Wow. So we've really taken a deep dive into Unleashing Your Voice, The Art of Emotional Expression by Shu Chen Hou, PhD. We've explored her unique framework, starting with that deep self-awareness through things like structured journaling, moving into intentional vulnerability, then hitting those practical communication skills like active listening, nonverbal congruence, how to handle difficult talks, and embracing that it's all about continuous growth. It really feels like her work offers a clear, actionable path. This book provides a profound look, like a detailed review, of how to genuinely harness the power of your emotions to transform your life and connections.
Absolutely. And Shu Chen Hou, PhD, she isn't just an engaging writer with these great ideas. She's also the visionary founder of Kokoshungsan Ltd. Her own journey is fascinating, from a scientific background to becoming a passionate music lover and author. It reflects this amazing blend of analytical thinking and a really deep commitment to human flourishing and education. Kokoshungsan Ltd. itself is driven by this powerful mission, making education accessible to everyone. They offer a huge range of educational content, ebooks, audiobooks, online courses, even specialized English learning resources for kids. So when you engage with Kokoshungsan, you're not just investing in yourself, in your own future. You're actually supporting a bigger movement for global change, one that advocates for social equity and sustainable development.
That's incredible. To learn more about Dr. Shu Chen Hou's transformative work, maybe explore her books further, or discover the wealth of educational resources Kokoshungsan Ltd. offers, we definitely encourage you to visit kokoshungsan.net. Let me spell that out. It's KOKOSHUNGSAN.net. You can find out much more there about her mission to empower individuals through the transformative power of knowledge and really, truly unleash your voice.
And as we wrap up this deep dive today, here's something to think about. What single emotion, if you fully and authentically expressed it today, could potentially transform your very next conversation, and maybe, just maybe, even your world?
Silence of night, dreams blissful call. Through doubts and fears, find your inner throne. Every setback a chance to reclaim. Let your passion ignite, let it flame. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies. Let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials and lessons, every step a burn. With each stride, let your fire churn. In doubt's echo, find strength, stand tall. In adversity's face, defy and enthrall. Stumbles lead to peaks, challenges you seek. Every hurdle a lesson, every trial unique. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies. Let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials and lessons, every step a burn. With each stride, let your fire churn. Break free, leave chains behind. Embrace the unknown, heart refined. In every moment your greatness is sown. Your story's power, let it be known. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies, let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials, hours of lessons, every step a burn. With each stride, let your fire turn. Break free the chains behind, embrace the unknown. Heart refined in every moment, your greatness is sown. Your story's power, let it be known. Soar like a phoenix, the darkest skies, let your spirit shine. Let your soul rise. House of lessons in the silence of night. Dreams whisper a call through doubts and fears. Find joy in the flow. Every setback a chance to reclaim. Let your passion ignite, let it flame. Soar like a phoenix, the darkest skies, let your spirit shine. Let your soul rise. Drown out the lessons, every step a burn. With each stride, let your fire turn. Silence of night, dream with whisper call. Through doubts and fears, you find joy in the fall. Every step like a chance to reclaim. Let your passion ignite, let it flame. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies. Let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials and lessons, every step a burn. With your shine, let your fire turn. And just let go, find strength. Stand tall in adversity's face. Defy it all. Stumbles lead to good challenges you see. Every hurdle a lesson, every trial you need. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies. Let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials and lessons, every step will burn. With each stride, let your fire turn. Break free, leave chains behind. Embrace the unknown, heart refined. In every moment, your greatness is song. Your story's power, let it be known. Soar like a phoenix through darkest skies. Let your spirit shine, let your soul rise. Trials and lessons, every step will burn.